I'm David. You shouldn't break the law, but if you want to, there's a way around it. So, lately, there have been a few cities around the United States that have a saying called no plate, no case. And it has become very popular to either, believe it or not use a license plate at all or use fake license plates, which is a very bad idea. But years ago, I was watching The Transporter, which had essentially a stealth license plate that changed while he was driving. Well then, I went on Amazon and saw if they were even a real thing. Lo and behold, they are. So I ordered one out of curiosity, then made a video about it, and you guys all seemed to like it all the way back in 2018. And it was really interesting to see how it worked. The original stealth plate had a curtain system, essentially. You had two small electric motors, and it dropped all the way down the plate, and a lot of people were using these to go through toll systems.
And he is charged with a felony for failure to pay $1.25 toll.
But the only problem with that is, it's a felony. But due to all these things, I figured that we could cover the other stealth license plate. And to me, it's actually more interesting on how it works than just a motorized curtain. But a lot of people in the car community always forget these exist, so I brought some friends over to see it in action as well, and we're gonna show you how these things work. But this is for fun. I highly don't recommend you using these because you could probably get in trouble. So, here I have another stealth license plate. And it's very eerily simple to use. So let's go through it. All right, today I have with me Trey and Austin.
Hey.
Have you ever seen a stealth plate in person?
Not in person, only on the gram.
Have you ever been curious to see them, like in person?
It kind of seems interesting for reasons.
The first one, I'm sure you're familiar with, the curtain, which we actually have, if you want to grab that. So this is the one from the video in 2018. You'll notice it's extraordinarily simple to set up. Basically, you have a module that has these remotes on them. You have the James Bond antenna.
Oh gosh.
And yeah, you also have to like slide this thing open.
Oh wow.
And do the thing.
It's got a safety.
Yes, hold on. Maybe not the most tonal joke right now. Anyway, so all you did was basically take these modules and plug them in to a 12 volt. And that was it. And then you would route it through the car and be done. And I'll show you this in action too later. But basically you have a very similar system. You have the module, put that off to the side. And of course, this goes to the remote system. This is the receiver. And then you also have a 12 volt. Looks familiar? Absolutely. Then you have your added hardware, and you'll notice the hardware is actually longer than usual because it has to go through this very thick license plate frame. Now, believe it or not, before you power this thing up, it's actually translucent before. When you add the power to it, it clears up.
What?
Yeah.
No way.
Trey, you seem pretty mind blown by this.
Yeah. So you're telling me the fog flows through the plate, or?
So this becomes transparent.
Oh.
Yeah, when the power is added. We're gonna try and figure that out.
So it's
I'm
all
feeling very scientific with this.
It's all
right now.
electronic. There's no actual fog.
This is some weird stuff.
CJ has joined the battle, and have you ever seen a stealth plate in person?
Wait, what is this? Is that what this is?
Yeah.
Oh, shit, that's pretty cool.
To verify, I did not tell him what we were filming today. I just said, show up. So.
Yeah, pretty much. I actually pay for Peach Pass now. So,
Oh, okay. What are your predictions? Do you think the fog one's more effective or the curtain one's gonna be more effective?
Curtain. I think fog is going to be pretty effective if it works.
It should just snap on, snap off.
My concern is that it's not going to be clear enough, and you're going to get pulled over anyway for having a tinted plate cover.
You have to basically like...
Oh wow, you can't see anything.
You can't see anything, dude. Maybe I should have tested the bolt first. So this car wasn't an accident, right? It got rear-ended. What were you thinking? You know, when I talked about restoring the back end to Smurf, this wasn't what I exactly had in mind. And so basically this deck lid, the size of the bolts or the screws don't match with this. So we are using questionable hardware to make this work, but just for demonstration. Yeah, these, don't do this. Don't do this.
Do better.
Do better. Just like, don't do this whole thing. That's why I'm doing it for you. And no, I'm not gonna go out on the public road with this. I'm gonna verify. So as of right now, you're not seeing a plate behind this, right? There's nothing there, but this is with it turned off. So now we're gonna add power to it and see what actually happens, because I honestly don't know how it's gonna go. Oh!
Huh. Bro, that was immediate.
That was hold on. Even without the the remote?
Huh.
Okay. Oh my god.
That's pretty cool.
Oh my, that is crazy.
What the heck?
See, here's the problem with this one. I actually think this one's less effective because this already looks suspicious. You know? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So basically, it's already translucent, and if I'm over here like, I wonder what he's up to, and I can barely read the plate, and all of a sudden, that happens. I mean,
I think if you push the plate closer to the plastic.
Let's try that.
I think
Let's try that.
Yeah.
So a train of thought is, since the car is off, it might not have enough juice. So we're gonna see if this clears up at all with the car on. CJ has made a great point. So if you pull out the hardware, like he's doing, the plate is actually not completely against the screen because you have these kind of, well, frankly, they're dimples, right? Coming up all the way here.
Standoffs.
Yeah,
almost,
to basically mount it. But the problem is that without it being flush, it's still not very clear. It's still pretty foggy.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie.
You'd still get pulled over for this.
Yeah, that's how I feel about it.
Yeah. Hear my knees popping. I'm getting old.
Gotta have some of that krill oil.
I stand it off.
Oh, you need some distance.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Hold on, wait, do that again. So it does need distance. That's why it's there. Okay, to get the illusion, it has to sit back.
Yeah, but I mean, it kind of sucks.
Yeah.
This was kind of my concern, that it's not going to go completely clear, because not that I've been pulled over before, you know, tinted plate covers, but yeah, especially around here, they'll get you for that.
That immediately screams red flag.
Yeah.
Immediately.
If it could go completely, like, crystal clear, which it kind of did a minute ago.
It's inconsistent. That's the problem.
Yeah.
I think it's a voltage issue.
You think it's a voltage thing?
Yeah.
Do we want to try it on a different car?
We can.
Maybe the Stang ain't getting the full 12 volts to the cigarette lighter because David doesn't smoke.
Not very effective.
No.
I don't think it's effective for being sneaky.
No.
And I don't think it's effective even for a spy in a different country, if you wanted to make that argument. Quick cut to later in the day, everybody's gone home, but I was still so curious about this thing that I needed to know if it would look any better with different lighting outside. And instead of me, you know, taking off the plate and everything again, I just got a sheet of graph paper. Now this is actually with the plate off. It's not even doing the opaque thing. And it's still really hard to see the lines, right? But this is where the plate is on. So basically it delivers on being basically real life Photoshop. It looks like somebody took a blur and just applied it to your license plate. It's pretty crazy stuff. And as you turn it, it gets harder to see even with it off. It's still very sketchy if you were to drive this down the road, which you shouldn't. But this definitely delivers on the promise of going to a car show and not showing anything, absolutely. And the angle that you're seeing now, you can tell that the plate isn't even turned on to make it opaque. But as I come more center, you can kind of make those lines out on the graph paper. But, in my opinion, still a pretty big red flag if you essentially have a privacy screen with it off. That is pretty incredible that you can't even tell what's really going on behind it. Ludicrous, you'd be proud. Supercharged with a hideaway license plate. The big argument for these plates is like going to car shows or advertising your car or anything like that to hide your license plate. But you and I both know that's what people are really thinking about.
Yeah.
But just for fun, I figured we could put the old one back on and just show you just how drastic it is. Arguably my favorite part about this stealth plate, the spy remote.
I've never seen the curtain actually in person. I don't know how it. That's way better.
That's
way better.
Yeah.
Put it back. Okay, see, this just looks like an obnoxiously thick license plate. It's not really suspicious. I would see this on the road and not think anything of it.
Still, all these years later, it still gets me every time.
That's actually pretty cool.
It's pretty cool, come on.
That's pretty cool.
It's pretty cool.
Have we tried sticking your Instagram right there, just some vinyl, let it roll up in there, and then you can advertise. Put your gram on it,
Put it on
How are
it.
you going to get followers without having your gram on the car?
Not the Zoomer mentality.
I like the added bonus of all the extra beeping giving you.
Yes, but it's because of the signal,
It gives you a free headache though. That's an added bonus.
Yep, that's way better.
I like that
Way better.
I like that.
Way
That's
better.
more effective. Even if you are just going to a car meet and you want to cover your plate up because people are taking pictures, that still looks more presentable.
Yeah, but that is a lot to do just for that.
Yeah, but
Because, you know, you could literally just be like,
Why do
I'm at a car meet.
Wow.
that doesn't look half as cool, CJ. Put that away.
Well,
All right. I just feel like that looks more aesthetically pleasing than this weird, foggy, like your Wi-Fi isn't loading. Fucking, yeah. Have not unlocked this.
The
character.
dial-up license plate cover.
Yeah, I like that way better.
Yeah.
Okay.
Less likely to get you pulled over.
Open.
Open.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we can all agree that this in concept
idea.
seem better. Because I actually thought, since it would be transparent, that it would be less conspicuous than a literal curtain.
Yeah.
Right? But at the end of the day, this is way less conspicuous if you were to do what people talk about doing, right? But yeah, this is just so opaque that it just is a dead giveaway that you're up to no good,
Yeah.
Well,
basically.
And that's the other thing. A lot of, nicer cars, if they have like a sunroof now that doesn't, I guess a glass ceiling that doesn't open,
Yeah.
they'll have something like this in the glass, so it just turns opaque.
Right.
You don't have to deal with the sun glaring on you and everything. That's what I thought this was going to be, and it just
Not cool.
Yeah.
it was not that.
And when it was clear, if there was any kind of angle, like if you looked at it from the side, it was still super hazy.
Yeah, so you had to look at it just like this.
Yeah.
The moment you did this, it was almost like a privacy screen.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
literally.
Yeah,
like it was
right.
literally like the
Yeah.
whole thing.
Which
Meanwhile, somebody could run this and nobody would blink twice.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely.
No, he's got a weird, thick license plate.
He's just really protective of his license plate.
Actually, I've seen thicker license plates.
Yeah, especially the bedazzled ones.
You know what we should do? We should
could bedazzle
you
that.
could, no,
DJ, you were saying, yeah, you'd go to AutoZone and put skulls and flames on it.
yeah,
and,
I'd super glue it right down on top of this thing, man.
and then people would not know the wiser. They'd be like, oh, it's a
Yeah,
cheap
yeah,
license plate, friend.
they'd be like,
Then you open it and it has literal motors in it. It's, still to this day, I still think it's a cool party trick.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where you don't want to admit it's kind of neat. You're just like,
Because it is neat, but it's dumb. as well. That's the issue. It's stupid. This is dumb.
All the reasons
Yeah.
it exists for
Yeah.
are dumb.
but the antenna though.
That's my favorite part.
James Bond.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching. Did something very laid back and silly today, and literally a video out of curiosity. Nothing complicated. I was curious. I saw this online. I was like, you know what? It's been a while. Let's have fun again. So, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Bye.